All right, welcome to another episode of the Middle-Aged Metalhead. So, a couple of weeks ago, I got the chance to travel to Germany on work. It was quite a busy 6-day trip, but I did have pretty much an entire day to travel around Munich and went to about 3 record stores there and picked up a whole bunch of stuff. And I figured I'd talk about and show some of them. So, well, the stores themselves were all right, I guess. I went to there was a place called Black Wave, which specialized in hardcore and punk. So ended up getting a couple of metal records from there. There was uh, there was a couple of other places as well. Can't really remember their names right now, but I did end up picking a lot of really cool stuff from the 70s and 80s, stuff that I'd been wanting for a long time, and which I got for really good prices. So without wasting too much time, first up, the debut album from Uriah Heap. This is a bronze German pressing, very heavy, very humble. The band, I think, at this stage was still pretty much finding their sound. For me, Salisbury and Look at Yourself are way better than this album, but it is still a really, really good one. And a really good debut from the 70s as well. Next up, I would think a krautrock classic. This is Guru Guru Hinten. And, well, 4 songs, kind of chaotic, very somewhere between progressive and Kraut, and overall just a classic from, I think, 72, although this one is I think this is a reissue from 2016 or maybe 2017. Next, this was a really cool find. An album I've been wanting for a long, long time and never really found a good copy of this or a clean copy of this. Jethro Tull, Minstrel in the Gallery. This one's, I think it's an original German press on Chrysalis, and yeah, very nice copy. Next, I'd say one of Alice Cooper's most creative, most out there albums. Again, our first German pressing. I think this album came out in '82. Dada. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Well, yeah, I mean, in my opinion, it's brilliant, but I know it's not an opinion shared by a lot of people. It is strange, it's melancholic, it's depressive, it's dark, but it's also kind of fun and joyful at the same time. And I think it pretty much marked the end of Alice's most creative era as a musician. After this, of course, he would do Constrictor and pretty much go on to, or rather, latch on to the whole glam rock, hard rock sound, which was okay for what it was, but yeah, well. Next up, one of the greatest live albums ever made, German pressing of Deep Purple's Made in Japan. Everyone should own a copy. I never did, but now I finally do. Next, this is an album that I've always wanted, but I never really wanted to pay a lot of money for it. And yeah, Vonach August. It's a strange one because when the electric guitars kick in, it's absolutely fantastic. But the softer, folkier bits just kind of put me to sleep. But yeah, got this for really cheap, so I'm very happy. Next, this one is supposedly one of those psych rock, prog rock grails for collectors, at least the original pressing is. This is a repress. I think the band itself is from Switzerland. This one's called The the Murch Sound Room, named after the main guy from the band, and the album is Delusion. I think the band only did the one album, and a really nice reissue. Murch Sound Room, Delusion, and a really cool cover as well. Next, another favorite. I've been holding out for an original press of this for a long while, and finally got it for yeah, quite cheap. Marillion Fugazi. The first album, Tears from a Jester's Heart or Dream or whatever it was called, was, I think, a bit too much Genesis worship, but on this one I feel like they found their own sound, and I absolutely love this album. That's Ghost. Let's just look at the whole gatefold. Really nice stuff. No, this isn't actually an original press, it's a reissue, and it's one of those direct metal mastering thingies that I think was, for a short while, was a big deal in the 80s. I think. But yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Next, I've spoken about this album a few times before. Lovely, clean copy of Sweet Smoke's Just a Poke. Look at that. And this is an album I already own, but in my defense, what I have is a French pressing with a plain black cover. What we have here is a German pressing with a pretty cool band photo at the back, which was my justification for picking this up. Yes, I might have a problem, but it is just one of many. So, Sweet Smoke, Just a Poke, look at that. Happy to have a really clean copy of this. Next, I think when I started collecting, one of the biggest mistakes I made was falling for the hype train around remixes and remasters. And when I first heard Steven Wilson's remix of Jethro Tull, it was like, what is going on? Because the album sounded nothing like what I was familiar with, you know. And while I still have those, they're just albums that I don't really go back to. This is Songs from the Wood, one of my favorite Tull albums. This is another reissue, I think, from 1980. But yeah, and I haven't played this yet, but I'm sure it'll still sound a million times better than the Steven Wilson versions. Jethro Tull, Songs from the Wood. Next, the one Genesis album I'd been wanting to pick up. Finally got it. And here it is. So that is pretty much my essential Genesis complete. And overall, yeah, very happy with this. Nice, clean copy again. Next up, I was thrilled to actually find this, but at the same time, I was also a little bit disappointed because the cover was missing. This is Wasp on Music for Nations. This is the Animal 12-inch single, live version, and along with that, a couple of other songs on side B. But yeah, very happy to have this. Next up, if you're in Germany, well, I think this next band is pretty much mandatory. The debut album by the Scorpions, Lonesome Crow. Another reissue from I have no idea when, but it was cheap, and well, it has In Search of the Peace of Mind, which I absolutely love. The rest of the album is alright, but there are a couple of songs on this that I absolutely love, and another album that I wanted but didn't want to pay too much money for, and very happy with this. Next, classic German rock. This is Jane, Fire, Wind, Earth and Air. And this is on the Brain label. This is the gatefold. And I know it's something that I think collectors really look out for, but yeah, it looks pretty good. Next, another album by Jane. This is, I think, their fourth album overall. This is Lady. Cover's not in the best of shape. Same for both these Jane albums, but the LP itself is in pretty good shape. Another Brain release. Here's the gatefold. It's got a couple of stains on the sleeve, but overall, really, really good. And finally, the third Jane, which is also their third album, just called 3. The glossy laminate is still in shape, which is why you're seeing that reflection. Superb cover art. Really, really love the cover on this. We've got, of course, the gatefold again. Here you go, which is actually very similar to the inside gatefold of Uriah Heep's debut album, right? It's the same color combination as well. And yeah, interesting. Here's the gatefold. And this one's also a Brain original pressing. Then this next album, another German band. Fans of the band don't really rate this album very highly, but I think it rocks. So this is Plastic Planet by Birth Control. Again, I mean, just look at that artwork. You could buy this just for the art, right? And this one is again gatefold with lyrics, and that's the full gatefold. Really nice stuff. The cover's seen some wear and tear, as you can see here, but yeah, I didn't mind picking this up. This is really, really cool. Next, this was a surprise, just finding this in the wild in a little record store in a small town called Braunschweig, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. The store was called Router Records. And I was also where I picked up the Jane and the Birth Control. Superb collection of krautrock. He also had a first original pressing of Jane's debut album for a very reasonable price, which for whatever reason I did not pick up, and then regretted for the rest of my trip. But this is Stone, Emotional Playground, Finland's finest thrash metal band. Absolutely killer album. Again, a little bit of damage to the cover, but I missed out on the Swart reissue, which came out a while back, so I was thrilled to get this. Absolutely fantastic album. Melodic, slightly progressive, great thrash metal band. Next, another really cool pickup. I've been wanting to get this for a while, but it was quite expensive, and I picked this up from Blackwave. Bolthrower. This one is, of course, the Cenotaph and Spearhead EPs or mini albums, both combined. So you have Spearhead on side A, and you have Cenotaph on side B. And that is pretty much my Bolthrower collection on vinyl complete. Very happy with this as well. The only sad part, of course, was that I padded up the LPs quite a bit when I was bringing them back, but this one, for whatever reason, got a corner dig. Toof. What can you do? And finally, another pickup from Blackwave. I was absolutely thrilled to get this. This is Godflesh, the Peel Sessions. Yurik did an official version of this. I think it was a split LP with Unseen Terror on side B. But this is the first unofficial release of the field sessions from Godflesh. It's basically got just 4 songs on it. It's got Tiny Tears, Wound Not Wound, Pulp, and Like Rats. And it's JC or Justin Broderick on guitar, vocals, drums, JC Green on bass, and very happy with this. Sounds absolutely brilliant too. So yeah, that's pretty much everything that I picked up. Overall, really happy with what I got. Although it was kind of surprising that, or maybe I just didn't find it, but there were no real heavy metal specialty stores. And overall, I felt like there was, the modern record stores catered to a sort of indie, African music, jazz kind of space. And then, of course, you had these large record stores with a huge stock where everything was alphabetical, where I picked up a lot of stuff as well, but it was like getting lost in a maze, And then you had a couple of really smaller stores with brilliant collections, but not a lot of metal anywhere. And that was pretty much it. Have a good day. And that was pretty much everything that I picked up from Munich and Braunschweig, both cities in Germany. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, tell me what you think about these albums. Have a good one. Stay safe. Cheers.